I'm Kenneth, a relationship coach and a psychotherapist. Every relationship is different, and every breakup is different. Work with me, and you'll get professional help on your situation. Just click on the link in the description below, or go to my website, askcraig.net. Hi there, I'm Coach Kenneth, and in this video I'm going to be talking to you about when it's time to walk away. So, knowing when to walk away from an unhealthy situation can be very difficult, and it can be really scary, because if you love somebody, no matter how bad they've treated you, it could be really hard to leave them and let go of that situation and move on. But sometimes being an adult means acting like an adult and doing adult behavior even if you don't want to. Even when you really want to try and work it out, you have to do what is best for you. And if you stay in a situation where you're mistreated or not treated with respect, you're not going to get love. And you need to understand that. It's very important to have healthy boundaries with people, because if they don't respect you, they're really not going to love you. And today's video is focused on an email that I got from a woman in her mid-30s. She dated a guy who's close to 40 for about 2 years. Now, she was telling me a little bit about this guy, and right away I started to see things that I just didn't like. Like, he has a sister who is married, and she only works part-time, but she makes a fairly good living. Now, the husband also works full-time, but he's resentful towards his sister and their situation because she feels like his sister is lazy or unfair because he works full-time and she only works part-time. But they have kids together, and they probably have a nice system in place where the sister works part-time and then takes care of the kids while the husband is working, and then he comes home, and then they probably co-parent. But why is he resentful to that situation? Seems odd to me, right? Then another thing struck me. She was saying that he had bragged to her one time about how much his parents made during their retirement, which is just an odd thing to brag about. Well, my parents make almost $1,300 a month on retirements. I just feel like this guy is pretty condescending from what I read. And I should say this before I go on. She did send me numerous screenshots, which I will not get into because they were very graphic, and pictures of the situation. So I got a better understanding of it than you're going to get, because I'm not going to get into what the screenshots were. They were extremely graphic and sexual in nature in his part. And in case I forget to bring it up later, because sometimes I can be forgetful, he was very explicit, and it was obvious to me that he was using her for just an object. He showed no indication that he cared about her feelings, what she wanted, what she was interested in. It was just demand, sexual things from him. Okay? So, you can see my frustration already with this guy. I was not happy with the way he treated this woman. So, she found out that there was another woman, and she sent him a text asking when he was planning on telling her. His response was, "What the hell are you talking about?" When I told him I knew, he said I could call if I felt like I needed to talk. So, right away, he knew he was doing stuff wrong. He didn't want to come clean. He didn't act like an adult. All he did was manipulate and distort reality. Make her look like she's crazy. I called and said that I felt hurt. Towards the end of the conversation, he made the comment, "See, you can deal things like an adult. He has spoken down to me, mocked and ridiculed me in the past." It's interesting. He is saying, oh, look, you know how to act like an adult, when he clearly doesn't know what an adult acts like at all. He's condescending, disrespectful, he's a liar, he's manipulative, and he's a cheater. You get the feeling I don't like this guy? Okay. She said, anytime he felt challenged or confronted by him, or by her, he would be disrespectful and mock her in different ways. It's a form of abuse. During this conversation, he seemed suspicious and repeatedly asked, "She doesn't know about us, right? You didn't tell her, right?" I just imagined that's how he talked. I saw his picture. You don't have her on the other line three-way calling or something. You guys aren't conspiring. So look at this guy. All he cares about is you didn't tell her about us, right? That's all he cared about. Think about it. Why? Because he doesn't want this woman to mess up the new situation. That's all he cares about. He doesn't feel any guilt. He doesn't feel any remorse. He has not acted like an adult whatsoever and said, "You're right, I'm so sorry I did this to hurt you. You didn't deserve any of this." All he's caring about is you're not conspiring, and this isn't a setup. She doesn't know about us. Whoo, this guy makes me really mad. She says, he made it clear that he didn't want the other woman to know about me. You're not going to cause problems for me, right? If you tell her, you need to know that crap rolls downhill. Now, I was being polite in the words that I used. You can figure it out, but now he's threatening her. It's a veiled threat, but it is a threat. I told him I wouldn't tell her, but later decided that it would be wrong of me not to. So I found her cell phone number and I texted her 5 images and screenshots, the first being a letter, the last 4 being proof of what I was saying. And she included these in the email, which I did see. And she was quite honest and frank about certain things. Okay, from what I gathered, because she doesn't mention it in the email, but it was in the text, she tells the other woman that she has an STD and that she needs to get checked because he doesn't wear protection with her. Now, I don't know if she really meant it, that she has an STD, and she was really trying to protect this other woman, or she was telling her because she was trying to be vindictive or spiteful. Those are the 2 options. I do think she was being honest based on everything that played out here. But I just wanted to point that out, that those are the 2 things that popped in my head, because she doesn't even mention that in the actual email. It's only in this brief part of the screenshot that I mentioned earlier. So, she said, I always respected and looked up and trusted him more than any man I've ever met. I've always viewed him as rough around the edges, but a teddy bear at heart. Well, this guy seems more like a wolf in sheep's clothes to me. I do not like the way this guy has handled any of this. Any of it at all. She says he's been married and divorced twice. His first marriage, where he has 2 kids, lasted 3 years. He stated that his ex-wife has borderline personality disorder and has caused continuous drama for him since their divorce. An accusation of rape, opening fraudulent credit cards in his name after their divorce, some of which he has to pay, breaking into his home, stealing things, a temporary restraining order while he was going through his second divorce. Well, you're assuming that he's told you the truth about all these things, and that you're assuming that he didn't do any of these things. Maybe he did, maybe he didn't. His ex-wife is borderline, so she clearly would have a lot of issues. I know you guys probably don't know about borderline personality disorder. I will probably get to some videos in the future on that. It is a very serious personality disorder that happens very early in life. And actually Margaret and I were talking about that today, and we'll probably do some videos together on some personality disorders. But for now, just understand that it's pretty serious stuff. Okay. He stated that his second wife, to whom he was married for a total of 11 months, cheated on him. He's always spoken respectfully of his second ex-wife, with only complaining about her infidelity. I don't share well. I thought she loved me. Just about killed me. But it's okay for him to do that to you? Shows a complete lack of empathy. This guy is supposedly devastated by his ex-wife cheating on him, yet now he's gone and done the exact same thing to the woman in the email. This is why I say this guy's not acting like an adult. While I trusted him, I was quietly monitoring the Facebook profiles of 2 of his female friends. Then you didn't really trust him, okay? How are you trusting him but you're quietly monitoring his friends? That's not trust. If you really did trust him, you wouldn't be monitoring it. Think about it. Okay. The only thing I could think is you knew something was up. You knew there was something going on in your gut that was telling you something's not right here and that you better watch this guy. But, like I said, that's not trust if you knew something was going on and you felt something. Twice during the past summer, he mentioned other women who had been hitting on him, and he suggested that we include them in our sex life. He didn't tell me their names, but gave me enough details that I was able to figure out with who each of these women were. One of the things I liked about him had been my belief that he was not into that sort of thing, that he doesn't share well, and that faithfulness was important to him. Each time he brought up the other women, I felt hurt and would cry. And when I cried, he would get angry, tell me that he was joking, and thought it was funny. Yeah, right. Not buying it, buddy. That he didn't want to do anything with these other women, and that it was my feeling hurt was an overreaction. More reality distortion. This guy does not act like an adult whatsoever. He really doesn't, and it makes me angry because I do not like to see people mistreated so poorly, and he doesn't care. The only thing he cares about is who he's going to hook up with next, and he's going to use people, anybody that he can, and he will, without remorse. I was through my Facebook monitoring one of these women when I learned that she was the other woman. Not only do I feel hurt, but my whole worldview has been shattered. And I'm so sorry that that happened to you, because you were with this guy for 2 years, and it sounded like you loved him, even though you knew he had flaws and he had things about him, but you saw him as a teddy bear, and unfortunately, you may have been ignoring who this guy really is, because in the text that you sent me, he was using you as an object. He didn't show any signs of how are you, how's your day, how are you feeling. There was nothing like that. It was all, when are you getting home? I expect explicit pictures. Are we going to do this tonight? Are we going to do these explicit things tonight? Object, 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 using you for an object. That's basically what it all looked like to me. And all of this is, you're not going to tell this other woman because I want to continue to use her as an object as well. I do not like this at all. Can you tell? Okay. So, she asked me, and this is what makes me sad about this situation, what could I have done better? If he contacts me again, is it possible for me to make things right? I read this email several times, and I don't see anything that you did wrong in this situation leading up to the breakup. Okay, let me put that out there. Leading up to the breakup, you didn't tell me anything that would make me see why he would cheat on you or be so disrespectful and hurtful to you. Now, after the breakup, you did contact the other woman, which is a gray area because I'm not really sure if you did it to protect this woman because you knew she could get an STD because you have one and you didn't want him to give it to her, which I could see would be noble of you to do if you were genuinely trying to protect her, or if you were just making that up and just trying to be spiteful and ruin that situation for him, in which case I could understand why you were angry and would want to do that to him. Doesn't make it right, but I can understand why you'd want to do it. But as far as what did you do wrong, I don't see anything that you could have done differently or you could have done wrong. You could have been amazing to this guy. But if he doesn't respect you, and he doesn't, because at one point you asked him to wear protection with you, and not only he was bold about, I'm not going to wear protection with you, it was, just the way he says things to you was a complete and utter lack of disrespect for you as a human being. Bossy, controlling, demanding, and he just so crude. So crude. I mean, I don't think you're in a situation where this really can be, nor should you try and salvage it. He is manipulative. He is emotionally abusive. He is no teddy bear. He is a wolf in sheep's clothing, right? He's a cheater. He doesn't care about you. If you do have an STD, he doesn't even seem to care about himself. And he certainly doesn't care about giving it to another woman. I would absolutely, unequivocally not recommend you taking this guy back in any way, shape, or form. Because the bottom line is, he doesn't respect you as a person. He doesn't care about your feelings. And I don't know why you have tolerated this for so long, because I could barely get through the email without wanting to throw the computer, let alone 2 years of this. So you can do so much better than this. And I'm sure you must have had a really rough childhood where you just didn't feel any value or love from your parents in order to tolerate somebody mistreating you so poorly for so long. But you guys, you deserve to be in a situation where people are going to love you, people are going to value you, and nobody should settle for less than that in a relationship, because that is part of the requirements for love. You're not going to find love in a situation with a partner who just doesn't respect you or care about you. You're just not. You're going to be settling for being treated like an object at best. So, for all you guys that are being mistreated, ladies, men, all of you guys out there, I highly recommend that you look down deep and make sure that you're in a situation where you're treated like you deserve to be treated. And it can be really hard to get to that place, especially if you've had a hard life. But I can promise you that the work is worth it, because when you do find somebody that really does love you and respects you, the love feels much better than anything that you'll get in a situation like this. So, if you want to get my help personally, go to my website, askcraig.net, sign up for the coaching option that works best for you. If you liked or appreciated the video, put a like on there. I do appreciate that. And be sure to subscribe to the channel, because I do post videos Monday through Friday. But that's it for this video. I'm Coach Craig Kenneth, and I will talk with you soon.